Hello class. In this video, we're going to be working with multiplying by the power of 10. Now, if you have not watched the video on exponents, please stop this video now and do that video first because you need to know how to work with exponents before you can work with this video. If you have worked with the exponents video already, then you may continue with this video. To start us off, we need to start a new page with our new heading, full name, date, mathematics, and your period number with the assignment as multiplying by the power of 10. We're going to work with easy expressions today that we need to solve using exponents. And in our order of operations, exponents is the second thing we solve. The first thing we solve is what's in parentheses. None of the expressions today is going to have any parentheses because we want to learn how to work with the exponent itself. So pause this video now and write your heading in your notebook. Now that we have our heading in our notebook, we have no new vocabulary words. So let's get down to working with problems. So on the screen, we have 4 different problems. Okay, we kept the same main factors. The only thing that we changed was the exponential form so that we can get used to working with exponents. Okay, we are using a base 10 number this time, but you do not have to have it as a base number of 10. Like in the previous video, we could have had 5, 3, a million, whatever the number is, but we're just trying to get used to working with it. So with our first problem right here, we have 2 times 10 to the 0 power. Before we solve anything, we need to solve this exponential forms first. The only exception to the rule of solving exponential form is when the exponent, this number right here, is a 0. When it's a 0, no matter what the base number is, the solution is always 1. So in this problem, 2 times 10 to the power of 0 actually means 2 times 1, which gives us a solution of 2. This is the only exception to our rule from the video of exponents, is if the exponent itself is a 0. Okay? All the other numbers, whether negative or positive, still works the same. We're not going to work with negative exponents just yet. We will work with them later on in the year, but right now we're just focusing on the positive ones so that we can get used to using it. Our next problem that we're going to do is here, 2 times 10 to the first power. So basically here we're doing 2 times, and then 10 to the first power just means I'm multiplying the 10 once. So it's just a 110 in there, right? Which gives us 2 times 10, which 2 times 10 gives us 20. So I changed the 10 to the first power. I'm just multiplying it once. That's why there is only 110 here. I solved that first because that was what was in my exponential form. So that's why I put them in parentheses to know, hey, I got to solve this first. Okay? And that's how I came up with this solution. Now in this one, we have 10 to the second power. So again, I'm going to copy down the 2 times because that stays constant. I need to solve the exponents first. So 10 times to the power of 2, or 10 squared, really means I'm multiplying 10 2 times. So 10 to the power of 2, or 10 squared, equals 10 times 10. Okay? And when we solve this, we know 10 times 10 equals 100. So we have 2 times 100. And 2 times 100 equals 200. So you see here, 10 is my base number. So that's why I'm multiplying tens. And my exponent is 2. So I'm multiplying it twice. Again, I put it in parentheses because I must solve this first. Okay? I must solve it first before I multiply it by 2. Okay? Because if I did that, I would have a little bit of a problem later on if I have other factors involved. So we always want to do this first. Now in this case, it would equal the same because I'm multiplying, but if this was an addition sign, I might get the wrong number. So we always do parentheses first and then our exponents. Since I have no parentheses here, that's why I put my breakout moving from exponential form to regular form in parentheses, so I know, hey, I have to solve this first. Now here's for our fourth problem. We have 2 times 10 to the power of 3, which basically I'm going to keep the 2 times the same and 10 to the power of 3. Since 10 is my base, that's what I'm multiplying, and I'm multiplying it 3 times. So again, I'm putting in parentheses so I know I have to solve this first. Okay, so I would have 10 times 10 times 10. And I'm going to close off my parentheses. I need to solve this first before I multiply it by 2. So again, I'm going to copy down the 2 times because I'm not working with that just yet and I don't want to forget about it. These are small equations right now, and I know that we could just remember it because it's only 2 main factors, right? The 2 and the 10 to the third power. But if we get really long expressions or equations, we want to make sure we don't forget anything. So that's why I'm copying it down. Then I solve what's in parentheses, and I know 10 times 10 gives me 100, and 100 times 10 gives me 1,000. So this is 1,000. If I needed to, I could have done parentheses, 100 times 10, and then went through another line. So if that's something you need to do, please do so. And then 2 times 1,000 gives me 2,000. One other thing I want us to get used to working in here, and I left this to the end only to point it out, is that after we solve an expression and we're giving our answer, box off your final answer. So I'm going to box out the 2. I'm going to box out the 20. I'm going to box out the 200. And I'm going to box out the 2,000. This way, this tells me, hey, Ms. Pascarella, this is what my solution is. This is what my answer is, okay? Because I want us to start learning to be a little bit organized in our work. And so this way it's easy for anybody to follow it. So again, what I do is I solve the exponential form first. I make a parentheses and I put my exponential form into regular form in there. So the base number, the bottom number, that is what I'm multiplying, and I'm multiplying it as many times as my exponent. So here it's 3, so I multiply by 3. Here is 2, so I multiplied it twice. Here is 1, so I only multiplied it once. The only exception is when my exponent is 0. If my exponent is 0, the whole exponential form equals 1. I want you to pause this video now and copy down the slide in your notebooks. Now that we have this recorded in our notebooks, let's try a tougher problem, okay? Because most of our problems are not going to be this easy. So I'm going to take it just a tad bit harder and give us one where we have 3 different factors. So we have 3 different factors here, the 12, the 10 to the third power, or 10 cubed, and the 3. So in our order of operations, the first thing we solve is parentheses. And there happens to be no parentheses here. And then the next thing is to solve exponents. And I look and I do have something in exponential form. And that's 10 to the third power or 10 cubed, whichever way you like to say it. So I need to solve this first. So when I solve this, I'm going to copy down this 12 because I'm not touching it yet. And I keep my multiplication. Now I'm going to add my parentheses because I know I got to solve this first. 10 to the third power, right? I would write that by, my base would be the 10. So I'm multiplying 10, but I'm multiplying it 3 times. Not 10 times 3, but I'm multiplying the 10 3 different times. So it's 10 times 10 times 10. And after I write it, I count 1, 2, 3. That's my exponent. So I know that that covers my exponent. And then I'm going to write down the multiplication by 3. Even though I'm not using the 12 or the 3 right now, I want to keep writing that so that I don't forget it. All right. Now I'm going to copy again the 12 times because I'm going to keep this the same. Now, instead of just solving this, yes, I know this is by 1,000. But I'm going to break it up, like I said, in the for the last problem that we could have done. 10 times 10, which 10 times 10 gives us 100. And then I'm going to copy down the last 10 and end my parentheses. And then I'm just going to copy down the multiplication by 3 because I don't want to forget it. And now I can go back and start again. And I'm not touching the 12 times yet because I still got something in parentheses. I know 100 times 10 gives me 1,000, so I'm going to write the 1,000 now. Now, the reason why I do this is I understand with a base 10 number where it's pretty fast to multiply. If this wasn't a 10, if this was another number, say like 5 or 6 or 11 or 25 or 30, it's a little bit harder. So sometimes we have to do one multiplication at a time, which is perfectly fine. Just start on a new line for each one and keep everything in parentheses that's supposed to be. They here and here. You see how I have 2 of them still? Keep them in the parentheses so that I don't forget I have to solve that first. And then I'm just going to write down the multiply by 3. Now, when I have this, I notice, hey, I have no parentheses. I have no exponents. So now I need to multiply or divide from left to right. I luck out here, so these two are multiplications. So I don't have to worry about dividing, adding, or subtracting afterwards. I just have to multiply. But I know for me, it's easy to multiply by 1,000. And it's harder to multiply by other numbers because this is a base 10 number. I just have to know to move my decimal. So I'm going to use my commutative property and I'm going to change the order. I'm going to do 12 times 3. Then I'm going to multiply by that 1,000 because I'm going to leave that last since that's the easiest part for me. And I like to do the harder ones first so that I know I don't mess up. So then I look here and I have 12 times 3. And 12 times 3 is 36. So for these two, it's going to give me 36. And then I'm just going to copy everything else down. Note how I'm keeping my numbers organized. Okay. Now I just have these two factors and I know 36 times 1,000 equals 36,000. And that is my solution. And because that's my solution, I'm going to box it off right now because I'm going to call out, Ms. Pascarella, this is my solution. This is my answer. Okay. And so anybody else that looks at it, we got to get used to calling out our answers. You can also write a sentence, but this is a skill question. There's no word problem to it. So we don't have to worry about writing a sentence necessarily. But if you choose to, you are more than welcome to. All right. So pause this video now and write down this slide in your notebooks, just the way that I've written it step by step. Now that we've worked through some problems, I want you to try one on your own. So for homework, I want you to title it homework. Oopsie, my line did not come straight. To label it as homework, I want you to write down the instructions, solve the following 2 expressions. Write the number 1, your expression, solve it. Then write number 2, your expression, and solve it. Do this in your notebook and make sure that you show all of your work. Also, if you need to rewind this video to watch the other examples, please do so. You can watch this video as many times as you would like.